a little bit different today. So, um, I know there's a lot of channels that talk different topics as far as being a Hebrew, as far as following Yah, or learning the language and learning the do's and don'ts and all that kind of stuff. And my channel's a little bit different because the only thing I care about is getting us into the kingdom. About is making sure we our hearts and our minds are set on the things of Yahweh. I don't care too much about the outward appearance. Okay, I don't care too much about the making it look right. I want certain things to look right, but only as it pertains to Yah's commands. I don't add anything to this word. I don't take away anything from this word. I try to walk completely in the ways that we're supposed to. Okay. So my channel is different from other channels in that I am not here for entertainment. I am not here for tickling of ears. I'm not here to say, oh, women have to wear pants or they have to wear skirts or they have to wear dresses or men have to do this, we have to do that. Those things they don't really matter. Okay. Um, what I'm here for is to get us into the kingdom of heaven, to help us to understand what Yahweh is looking for in his last days, to help us to understand what our heart needs to be in these last days. So we're going in the book of Matthew. We're going to continue in. We're going to start in chapter 14, verse 1. And we're just going to read through. And what we're trying to do is get a little bit more information and a little bit more understanding of what we're supposed to be doing. What is our role in this? What is our place in all of this? Okay. Um, so without further ado, Matthew chapter 14, we're going to start at verse 1. And we're going to stop every now and again and talk about it. Okay. So welcome back for those who are not new to the channel, and welcome to the channel. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard of the fame of Yeshua, or Jesus, and said unto his servants, this is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. For Herod had laid hold on John and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife. For John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And I'm going to tell you something about this too. Okay, so Herod the Tetrarch, I don't think he was a Hebrew. I believe he is a Roman. Okay, and therefore there is a danger in trying to tell people who do not believe the same way we believe what our rules are, and that they need to follow our rules. I want to make sure that we understand that if you go out on the street and you try to tell an atheist about, hey, you're doing this wrong because you're not following Yah's ways, that's not how Yah want us to do it. They're going to laugh at you, or they're going to ridicule you, or they're going to hate you, or there's going to be something that is adverse. It's not going to be what you want it to be, okay? Because you cannot go to people who do not know Yahweh and try to tell them how to follow Yahweh, or what they're doing is wrong according to Yah's standards, okay? And this is something that John the Baptist did, which I understand what he's saying is that, hey, this is your brother's wife. You can't marry your brother's wife, dude. That's not according to Yah's standards. But you think he cared? No, he didn't care. Not even a little bit. So verse 4, for John said unto him, it is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet, which of course John the Baptist was the last prophet of the Old Testament, and Yeshua is the firstborn son of the New Testament, or the New Covenant. 6, but when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them and pleased Herod. Whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatever she would ask. And she being before instructed of her mother, said, give me here John Baptist's head in a charger. And the king was sorry. Nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given to her. And he sent and beheaded John in prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciple his disciples came and took up the body and buried it and went and told Yeshua. When Yeshua heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. So he went, when Yeshua heard of what happened to John the Baptist, he had to go be by himself for a little while. That was probably a hard hit for him, to realize his cousin, whom he had known his whole life, didn't see him really, but knew of him, was beheaded in such a horrible way. All right. 14, and when Yeshua went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion toward them, he healed their sick. And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, that they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals or something to eat. But Yeshua said unto them, They need not depart. Give ye them to eat. And they said unto him, We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake and gave the loaves of his disciples to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did eat and were filled, and they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full. And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, besides the women and children. And straightway Yeshua constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up unto a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. For the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, Yeshua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit. And they cried out for fear. But straightway Yeshua spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I. Do not be afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked in the water to go out to the shore. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried and said, Lord, save me. So I want to bring up something in that, because a lot of pastors, they use this little piece of Peter coming out on the water. And I want to tell you guys, everything Yeshua said that we can do, this is just a testament to say that we can actually do it. Everything that Yeshua did, we can actually do it. If our faith is in Yeshua and we don't doubt, we can actually do those things that Yeshua said we can do. This is just a little bit of proof of it. Okay? And immediately Yeshua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Or why did you doubt? And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased, and they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, thou art the Son of God. And when they were gone over, they came into the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place had knowledge of him, they sent out into all that country round about, and brought unto him all that were diseased. And he besought him, and that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched were made perfectly whole. So you can see also in this, verse 36, that the lady who had touched the hem of his garment, the word went out of what she did and how it worked. So then you have other people now, all of a sudden, they think in their mind, well, hey, if it worked for the woman with the issue of blood, that she could touch the hem of his garment and be healed, hey, that's all we want too. We just want to touch the hem of your garment just as the woman did. And so they did, and they were made perfectly whole. So this is also a testament of how word gets brought around. When you tell somebody something and they believe it wholeheartedly, they go out and do exactly what you did to gain exactly what you got. We spoke about this. Remember why we spoke about this a few days ago, when we're talking about if Donald Trump said, I only brush my teeth with such and such, right? then everyone who wants to be like him, who wants to be successful, who wants to have a business, who desires to be basically what he is, right? They will go out and do everything that he does, which is why people sell shoes and sell clothes and all that kind of stuff using these famous people. Because people, if they want to be like Michael Jordan, they go out and buy Wheaties. They go out and buy Jordan shoes. They go out and buy anything with Michael Jordan on it, thinking they're going to be like him. But that's not completely true. But here in the Word, if you want to be like someone in the Word, you have to line your life up and do exactly what they did, and you will receive exactly what they received. And let's move on to chapter 15. Okay, it says, you got anything? 14. Okay. Then came to Yeshua scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. I want y'all to understand this. Why they came from Jerusalem all the way to Gennesaret, right? A whole nother place way off. And they asking, hey, how come you don't follow the tradition of the elders? Why don't you do what the elders do? And just like I mentioned in 36, the fame of the woman with the issue of blood went out, and everyone else came to touch the hem of his garment, just as she did, right? But this is how that whole thing can get switched. If you listen to an elder, to someone who says this is how you're supposed to do it, after a time, that thing gets perverted. Okay, so like the woman with the issue of blood, they touched the hem of the garment. Well, in tradition, if they were to continue to do this over and over and over again, eventually it would morph, not just touching the hem of his garment, but then it will have to be specifically this part of the garment. It will have to be specifically this or this, and it changes and it morphs in time. So this is what happens with the tradition of the elders. What used to work, every generation, every person changes it just a little bit, try to make it more exact, and they're getting further and further away from the purpose of it. So they got so far away from the very purpose of the tradition of the elders, that is no longer tradition. It no longer works. It has no power anymore. Now it's just a tradition of man, just something we do. All right. Verse 3, but he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Wait, hold on. Your tradition of the elders go against the commandments of Yahweh. So if your tradition of the elders go against the commandments of Yahweh, what is more important? Is the tradition of elders more important than the commandments of Yah? No, it is not. Let's bring this into today's time. If your pastor says to you, go out and do this or go out and do that, or believe like this or believe like that, but it goes against the commandments of Yahweh, what is more important? Is the commandments of Yahweh or is it the commandments of your pastor? The commandments of Yah supersede the commandments of your pastor. Same way we have this issue with Sunday service. Okay, the Bible says Saturday is the Shabbat. Today is the Shabbat, not tomorrow, not Sunday. Okay, so there's a problem with that, because over time we have believed that the tradition is more important than the commandment, and we got to bring this thing back. And that's the whole purpose of this right here, is to show us in modern day that we have gotten off kilter, we have gotten off our base, and we've gotten so far off our base because we believe the tradition of the elders. We believe the traditions of the people who tell us these things more than what we believe the commandments are. And no pastor is going to tell you this. No pastor is going to tell you that the commandments supersede anything that they say. Okay? Because every church does things contrary to the commandments of Yahweh. Okay? Can you grab Kika? Yeah. For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But whoever shall say to his father or mother, it is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me. and honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have ye made the commandment of God of none effect by your tradition. So they try to explain away why they don't need to honor their father or mother. Okay. Verse 7, ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth, and honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. So instead of teaching the commandments, instead of teaching what Yah says, how we should live, how we should do absolutely everything. Absolutely everything in our society is already outlined in this word. Okay, it's outlined in the first 5 books of the Bible, the Torah, the however you want to say it. Okay, the writings of Moses, right? The Tanakh, the Torah, the writings of Moses, however you want to say it. Speaking of writings of, never mind, I'm not even going to that. I was going to jump down a little rabbit hole and go into the book of Jasher or the book of what is the Jubilees and all of that, because Moses did write that. I was going to go down a rabbit hole, but I'm going to save that for later. Verse 10, and he called the multitude and said unto them, hear and understand, not defileth the man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth the man. Then came his disciples and said unto him, knowest thou that the Pharisees were offended after they heard this saying? But he answered and said, every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be rooted up. Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. I want to talk about that for a second real quick, because you have people who are not sent by Yah to go out and teach and tell people how they're supposed to follow Yah, but they aren't sent by Yah. So what are they? They're blind leaders, and they are leading blind people. And verse 14 sums it up perfectly, or 13 too. Every plant which my heavenly Father hath not planted shall be uprooted. He's going to take them back out of there. He's going to pull them out because they weren't sent by him in the first place. And he says, leave them alone. Let they be blind leaders of the blind. Both shall fall into the ditch. So therefore, your pastor is going to send you straight to hell. I'm just going to be real with you. Your pastor is going to send you to hell because he was not sent by Yah. He was not called by Yah. And he is telling you to obey the commandments of men versus the commandments of Yahweh. And that is something that we need to be very, very careful about. We do not want to obey the commandments of men more than the commandments of Yahweh. 15, then answered Peter and said unto him, declare unto us this parable. And Yeshua said, are ye also without understanding? Do not ye yet understand that whatsoever enters at the mouth goes into the belly and is cast out into the draught? But those which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. So what you eat is not really going to defile you. Okay, it's not going to change your spiritual heart, really. But what you say, what comes out of your mouth, comes out of your heart. Okay, and that is what's going to defile you. That's what's going to mess you up. For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, theft, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man. But to eat with unwashed hands defileth not a man. Okay, so let's say that again. 19, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, theft, false witness, blasphemies. These are all little things that we say in our head. These are all little things that we be thinking. When you see somebody and you judge them in your mind, these are the things that you think about, you know? And these are the things, once you put action to those thoughts, even though you have the thought, it doesn't mean that you are defiled. The thought doesn't defile you. It's when you take one step of action toward that thing is what defiles you. Okay. 21. Then Yeshua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried out unto him, saying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, Send her away, for she cried after us. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, It is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. So first he ignored her. And then he says, Look, I'm not even come to you. I'm not supposed to even be coming to you. I'm not supposed to talk to you. I don't deal with you. And then she kept talking. So then he insulted her by calling her a dog. Wow. And still, she wouldn't go away. And she said, Truth, Lord. Yet, she didn't even argue with him. She was like, Yeah, I'm a dog. She didn't even argue. She was like, Yeah, you're right. Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Then Yeshua answered and said to her, O woman, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. So he tried to push her away. He tried to ignore her. He straight up told her, I'm not here for you. He called her a dog. Didn't disagree. She just said, yeah, true, whatever. But still, and she had a nice little slick remark. And when he saw that she was persistent in her faith, this is how Gentiles get into heaven right here, y'all. I'm just going to straight up say it. This is how Gentiles get into heaven. When you do not sit here and you look at these, I don't know, Hebrew Israelite guys, these UIC guys, these Sakari guys that come out and say, oh, we only going for the house of Israel. We don't care nothing about the rest of y'all. All y'all going to hell. And you do not allow those people to sway you. But you continue to come to Yah. You continue to run to Yah. Yahweh sees your heart. He sees your tenacity. And he says, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. Because of your faith, because of your tenacity, because you didn't give up. You didn't stop when people told you to stop. You didn't, run away just because you got insulted. You didn't go back, to living how you would live. Once you see that there's a better way, do not allow other people, do not allow these IUIC guys, these camp doctrines, these different people to tell you there is no salvation for Gentiles. There is no salvation for anyone outside of the children of Israel. That is a lie from the pit of hell. And we see it right here, where she did not give up, even though she was insulted, even though she was ignored, even though she was told, go away, I didn't come to you. She did not stop. And this has to be your heart, that you do not stop no matter what. You just keep knocking on that door. You just keep on coming to Yah, no matter what people say, no matter if they insult you about how you look, no matter if they insult you about anything, okay? You just keep coming and you just keep doing what you're supposed to do. And Yah will see your heart. He will understand. And he says, yeah, oh woman, oh people, great is thy faith. Be it unto thee, even as thou wilt. Whatever you said, have it. It's yours. Because your faith and your tenacity. All right. And then she got it. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Go on, 29. And Yeshua departed from thence and came nigh unto the Sea of Galilee, and went up into a mountain and sat down there. And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Yeshua's feet, and he healed them. All right. I want to say this again because I like saying this. Lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others. I want to tell you, these are spiritual things nowadays, okay? So lame, or people who are missing an arm or leg, or both arms, both legs, that's lame. Spiritually speaking, it means you're not able to go out and fulfill what Yahweh called you to do. There's a mental block. There's something there, fearfulness or whatever, that causes a person to not be able to act out what Yah's called them. Blind, people who cannot spiritually see, people who cannot perceive what they're reading when they read the Bible, people who cannot understand it. Okay, dumb, it's the same thing. People who cannot understand what they watch when they hear it, what they read, they cannot get it. Maimed means oh God, physically maimed. It's like there's something physically wrong with you. When I think of maimed, I think of like an animal attack.
Well, sorry. I think of not being able to take action once you read.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Right.
Once you read, not being able to take that step.
Got a little time. Means past tense maim, past tense maim. Okay. Wound or injure someone that is part of the body that's permanently damaged. 100,000 soldiers were killed or maimed. Okay.
Right.
So that's the same thing I thought was like an animal attack, and you have damage from that. So anything that would damage you, you were once whole, you were once able, but then all of a sudden now you can't. So, okay, I got a new revelation. I got it, y'all. So if you were maimed, it means that you were once able to walk out your faith, but then something happened. Something tragic happened in your life to where you no longer have the unction to go out there. Let's say people started speaking against your faith. People started saying, oh, you're doing all this. You ain't got to do all that, blah, blah, blah. And now you're afraid to go out and continue to speak. Now you're afraid to go out and continue to do what you were doing before. And that is spiritually maimed, okay? And many others. And cast them down at Yeshua's feet, and he healed them. So that means we need to cast ourselves down at Yeshua's feet when we realize, hey, we're not able to do this anymore. I'm the lame. You need to notice, are you a lame person? Are you someone who your hands and your feet don't work? When you go out, you just can't make yourself speak to people. You cannot make yourself obey Yah's word. You cannot make yourself, stay home on a Shabbat and not go to work and not cut the grass and not do everything else that you would normally do. That's, lame, blind. You got to think of these things. Am I this? Do I have partial blindness? Am I blind sometimes? And then sometimes I'm okay. That's still the same thing. Am I sometimes not understanding this word? But then sometimes I do. You got to think, am I this person? Am I this way? Am I a lame person spiritually? Am I a blind person spiritually? Am I a dumb person spiritually? Am I maimed? And many other things. Any other little issues you might have to why you cannot carry this word out? We need to throw ourselves down at the feet of Yeshua and ask him and pray and say, Yah, I recognize I am lame. I recognize I am blind to your word. I recognize I am dumb. I do not understand your word. I need your Holy Spirit to come into me and fill these voids so that I can see, so that I am whole, so that I understand, so that I am made whole from being maimed. I can now do what I used to do and everything else, okay? I can act the way you called me to act and be what you called me to be. This is a simple prayer. And we need to understand this. When you see these things, these people are not helpless. They're not hopeless forever. You can be made whole. Even today, you can be made whole. It is just a simple prayer. Do not allow people to make you think that you're stuck that way. That's just how it is. That's just, you just got a bad rap. That's how it is. No, it's not. It's a simple prayer. Go ahead.
I was thinking about people who get hurt in the church.
Mm-hmm.
and get really, really traumatized by their pastors or the
Mhm.
leaders. And then they no longer want to hear anything about, yeah,
I was there. I did that.
they just they don't care to hear. They don't, you talk to them about Yah and following Yah, and they're just like, don't talk to me about him. I'm angry because he allowed this and
Mhm.
this and this, and I don't have anything to say about that. So don't talk to me about, you know, don't be throwing your holier than thou, scriptures at me.
Right.
And that is the picture that the Holy Spirit gave me as we were talking about being maimed, being
Mhm.
blind, being, these are people that have come in contact with religious folks and
Mhm.
have really, really gotten hurt by authority and leadership, and they no longer want to have anything to do with it. So they deal away with God altogether or with Yah altogether because they don't want to have anything to do. And here in the scriptures, Matthew is expressing that you can heal from that.
Mhm.
You don't have to be angry with Yah over something that a human being used to abuse their authority and their leadership.
Mhm.
Um, and so I simply wanted to express for those of you that listen to this channel and hear the scriptures and what we're teaching here, understand that there are, we understand that some of you have been hurt by church folks, by religious people, and that you don't want to have anything to do with the commitments because of what you have seen them do. You don't want to have to do with listening to the word because of what somebody else did that wasn't supposed to do. And therefore, now you have been spiritually maimed. And also, um, you don't want to hear. That means that you have closed your ears to hear the word of truth as well. And Yeshua is letting you know, if you come to me and you are real with me and you share with me your heart, I don't want to hear about your word because of this. I don't want you to talk to me about, yeah, because of this. I don't want this. I don't want that because the people who were supposed to show me who you are, they broke me. They hurt me. They mistreated me. They abused me. And Yah is saying, come to me with that, and I can heal it. I can heal you from that so that you are able to hear me, not just some words, not just some scriptures, but hear me, hear my love for you, hear my kindness towards you.
Mhm. Yeah. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right. And in verse 31, it kind of says the same thing. It says, oh, hey. Insomuch that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, the maimed to behold, the lame to walk, and the blind to see, and they glorified the God of Israel. Verse 32, Matthew chapter 15, verse 32. Then Yeshua called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude because they continue with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. And I will not send them away fasting, lest they faint in the way. So people didn't just come to Yeshua just for one service. They came for like 3 days, the whole weekend, right? However long that was, whatever days were. And his disciples said unto him, whence should we have so much bread in the wilderness as to fill so great a multitude? And Yeshua said to them, how many loaves have ye? And they said, 7, and a few little fishes. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves and the fishes and gave thanks and brake them, and gave to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up of the bread, broken meat that was left, 7 baskets full. And they that did eat were 4,000 men, beside women and children. And he sent away all the multitude, and took ship, and came into the coast of Magdala. Let's go into 16. We'll go ahead and hit one more. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting desired him that he would shew them a sign from heaven. And he answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and low ring. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but cannot discern the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. All right. So I want to stop there for just a second because it's telling people we need to be able to understand the sign of the times that we live in. We need to be able to find our place in the Word, in the Bible, and we need to understand where we are. Okay. So in today's time, we know that the 400 years of slavery is over, and there's always like a period of transition in the middle that kind of doesn't count against time. Sometimes that time takes 100 years, 400 years, 500 years. Sometimes the time is quick. Sometimes it takes a long time. Just like from the Old Testament, from the book of Malachi unto the first book of the Bible, of the New Testament, it was like 400 years. So there's a big transition, big time of transition. Right now, we are now in the time of transition. We're not completely, free from Gentile reign, but we're not completely in the next age either. We're kind of in the middle. So we know that the 400 years of slavery is over, but we're just in the middle. We don't know when the next time is going to end. It's going to begin. So once we see where we are in time, we go back and we start to look in the Bible and we start to realize where we are and what should we be doing in that time. Because if you start operating in a time that's not what you're in, you're going to be in big trouble. You're doing the wrong thing. So we need to understand the sign of the times and where we are in the Word, in the Bible, okay? And act according, all right? Let's see. Oh, and he left them and departed. And when his disciples, verse 5, and when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yeshua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, is it because we have taken no bread? Which when Yeshua perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets ye took up, neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, of the leaven of the bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees.
Yeah. In that, I want to bring up a couple of things. One is understand that Yeshua has the ability to bless you beyond measure when you're enough. Just like here, he told his disciples, don't take any bread, don't take anything. Okay. And while they were there, they were hungry, and Yeshua was able to multiply what they did have. So in here, I want to bring up to those of us that are in this journey, understand that along this journey, there's going to be times that you are going to be hungry. And when we're talking about hungry, we're talking about hungry for the Word, okay? That there are going to be times that you're going to feel like there's a drought of spiritual food and spiritual understanding. And Yeshua is telling you during that time, hang on to me, because he has the ability to multiply. He has the ability to feed you when no one else is bringing the truth to the table, okay? And the other thing that I want to bring out here is watch out for people that want to redirect your vision in a place that is dangerous for you. The Sadducees and the Pharisees are always adding certain things to the word, to their advantage, for their agenda, for what they want to do and accomplish.
Right.
And here, Yeshua is giving his disciples warning. He used the bread as an illustration to warn them. Be careful that you do not allow yourself to get swayed by people who don't understand your path, the path that you're walking, and the path that Yeshua has you walking in. They're going to try to convince you that you're going in the wrong direction, that you're going in the wrong path, that you're not doing things right. We have come across a lot of Christians trying to tell us, oh no, we're not supposed to be keeping the commandments. There's nowhere in scripture that says that you're not supposed to be keeping the commandments. So when we bring up the truth, they run out. They have nothing else. They have no other argument.
But if you believe that, then you allow them to get in your head.
Right.
And they start to change the way you think and the way you see. And then you follow, you're going to end up following them again. And going right back to the church that you left because of the pressure of people.
And we know a lot of people that do that. They leave the religious, system, and then they go right back into it because of the pressure that comes with just being by yourself and just having the faith on your own to follow Yeshua. And that is a pressure. Oh, I'm glad we brought that up. That is a pressure that you have to be able to withstand in order to get to the promised land. The children of Israel had to go through a lot of pressure and a lot of opposition along the path before they could get to the promised land. And about half of them didn't make it. So the thing is, you have got to be convinced for yourself that this is a journey that you are wanting to take on, and know that if everybody leave you, you're going to continue to move forward in what Yah is asking you to do. If family leaves you, oh well. If friends leave you, oh well. If you having to walk this thing out by yourself, because that is what Yah has put in your heart and that is your conviction, continue on that path no matter what you lose, because it has a reward. And that is something that you have got to convince yourself of. Is this journey worthy? Is this journey worth the price that you have to pay? Is this, just like in the book of Luke, chapter 14, it literally spills out. No engineer, no architect is going to sit down and make a plan for a house unless they have the money to pay for it. Do you have what it takes to pay for the journey that you are asking Yah to put you in? So I just want to bring that up as we were talking about that, because you are going to be tested in that. People are going to try to tell you you're in the wrong path. That is not real. What are you listening to? Get away from that until people actually see that what you're doing is actually real, is tangible. There is a reward on the other side of that.
And then you have some people that are like the Pharisees and the Sadducees that are like, oh, prove it to me. Show me. Prove it to me that this is
Give
real.
Me a sign.
Prove it to me. Right. And it's one of those things that, this is a faith walk. When you decide that I'm going to read this word and I'm literally going to do everything that it says for me to do, that Yah says that I'm supposed to be doing. And especially when Yahweh starts to give you dreams, he starts to give you revelations, he starts to speak to you personally in a way that no one can ever tell you that is not true. That makes it different. Okay. When you're in the church and you're reading the word and the word says, oh, you're supposed to be off on Saturday. Saturday is the Sabbath. But then your pastor's saying Sunday is the Sabbath. And everybody else is telling you Sunday is the Sabbath. But you're reading the word and the word says Saturday is the Sabbath. And everybody keeps saying Sunday is the Sabbath. And you're doing it wrong. And this is how we've always done it. And this is how it goes. And blah, blah, blah. And then once you step out and you say, I'm not coming to church no more. I'm going to do Saturday Sabbath. I'm not coming to church no more. And then everyone gets all up in arms. And they get all upset. and they come against you and they start telling you wrong, you're this, you're that, you're going to push everybody else away. You can't come to church anymore. You can't do this, you can't do that.
Mhm.
And it's all because you made the decision to read your Bible for yourself and to
Mhm.
realize y'all are not actually doing what the Bible says you're supposed to do.
Right.
But hey, I want to get into heaven. I want to be one of these people that make it into heaven. So I'm going to start doing what I'm supposed to do. Because great is the path that leads to destruction. The church is on the path that leads to destruction.
Right.
Narrow is the path that leads to life. That's for the independent thinkers, the independent people that question absolutely everything, that want to look at it in their own Bible and find out for themselves. Am I supposed to be doing this? Am I not supposed to be doing this? What is our part for man in all of this thing of creation? What are we supposed to actually be doing?
Mhm.
Once you start to do that independently, then the Holy Spirit starts to come to you independently and show you
And show you.
this is true,
Yeah.
this is right, this is where I want you to be. And you just got to do it, no matter what nobody else says, no matter, what they do, what they say, whatever, because you have been told by Yah himself or his Holy Spirit or an angel in a dream or something in a way that you know that Yah spoke to you, that this was real. And you find other people that are also walking that same path, and you're like, hey, cool. I found some other people right here that's walking the same path as me. Let me start walking this path with them. Now I got some friends. Now we got some people we can talk to, and we can kind of feel a little bit better that I'm not completely alone, even though I don't physically see people to my left or to my right. Just know we out here. We doing it too.
Can you pause 1 second right there?
Yeah.
And also too, for those of you that make the decision to walk this out on your own, and you confront, some folks, they will lash out. They will lash out at you, and what you're doing is you're exposing that spirit of manipulation and lies. And after that, you can tell the opposition is very, very strong between you and that person or those people. And with that, you also need to understand what you're coming against when you do that. Okay. One of the things that the enemy doesn't want is the enemy doesn't want you to expose him, bring him out into the light. Okay. This is why a lot of people don't come close to Yeshua, because it brings their stuff out into the light. It exposes their shortcomings. Okay. So when you confront people that are in the church, or you confront Christians that are not doing what the word says, but they surely proclaim all day that they're doing what the word says, they will get angry and they will lash out at you, because you're exposing their shortcomings, you're exposing the truth, and nobody likes that. So with that, I wanted to simply get some people to understand that when people lash out at you, this is why. Because you're exposing them.
All right, let's move on. Where were we?
We were in 16.
Oh, what was in? We're in 13 now. When Yeshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some say Elias, some say others, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said unto them, "But whom say ye that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Yeshua answered and said unto him, "Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven." And I want y'all to also understand that, people who had demons, people who had devils would call Yeshua the Son of God or the Christ. So it's not that, he heard it, but then he believed that because, hey, why not? That's who you are. I get it. He did all these miracles. The demons said who he is. And it proves who he is by the things that he could do and the things that he said. 18, and I say also unto thee. Well, I wanted to stop there. I wanted to say something else there. Sometimes when we get a revelation, we don't know where that revelation comes from. We just say it, and not realizing who is speaking through us or what is speaking through us. We just say it. And so, but you can go back and you can look at all the different instances of why he got to this place here. He's been walking with Yeshua almost 3 years now. So he got this from, prior experiences. 18, and I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And this is a concept that we don't completely understand, the depth of what you can actually bind and what you can. But we know that when we bind certain things over ourselves or certain things over our family, those things are also bound in heaven, in the heavenly realm, or in the spirit realm. So what he's saying is, when you bind something in the physical, it is also bound in the spiritual. Right. So let's say someone, you perceive them to have a demon, and they come to you and they ask, for you to help them. When you bind that thing physically, you also bound that thing spiritually. Right. But there's a depth to this that we don't yet quite understand, because, how many people have gone so deep into the spiritual that they can find the boundaries of what you can actually bind and what you can actually loose. Let's go. 20. Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. From that time forth began Yeshua to shew his disciples how he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. I want to pause right there. Most of the places where Yeshua went was in the northern kingdoms. He very rarely went down into Jerusalem. And whenever he would go into Jerusalem, whenever he would go into where he grew up, a lot of times he would face a lot of opposition. And a lot of bad stuff would happen. So that the northern kingdoms, they kind of fell away from Yeshua very early. They kind of fell away from the kingdom very early. After Solomon's son, when Solomon's son said what he said, it made the northern and the southern kingdoms split. The northern kingdoms walked away, and only the southern kingdom was Jerusalem, Judah, half tribe of Manasseh. Dan. No, not Dan. That was another kingdom. You had Judah, half tribe of Manasseh, and I forget the other one. If you remember, put it in the chat. Yeah. Because I don't remember. I don't know why. I just don't have it in my head. But anyway, the northern kingdoms, he was more safe in the northern kingdom, who had already fallen away from the commandments, than he was from the southern kingdom, who held tightly to the commandments. But they also fell into this thing of putting man-made traditions ahead of the commandments. Okay. So let's move on. It says, I have to read 21 again. From that time forth began Yeshua to shew his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said to Peter, Get ye behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. You're offensive to me. For thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of man. Just remember, just in the same chapter, he was just talking in 17, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And then in 23, he's saying, Get ye behind me, Satan.
He's rebuking him.
Right. So I want you guys to understand just how he didn't really completely understand what spirit he was speaking from when he said that you are the Christ, that you are the Christ, Son of the living God. He also did not completely understand what spirit was speaking through him when he said, hey, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. Like, this is not going to happen to you. I'm not going to let this happen. Come on, you're talking crazy now. You know, these things aren't going to happen to you. Just as that, we don't completely understand sometimes when our thoughts are being kind of swayed by the kingdom of heaven or swayed by the kingdom of darkness. Okay. And we say things without weighing or understanding who's speaking and what not to speak. We'll just speak it. Those things, you know, it's very natural for that to happen. It's very natural for someone just to be talking. And then, you know, sometimes people be like, oh man, you're talking like a fool, you know, you're talking foolish. Stop all that foolish talking. And then you'll snap out of it and then you'll start being yourself again. You don't always know. And sometimes we just say things and not realizing what spirit is coming out. Okay. But Yeshua did understand what spirit is coming out, and what spirit is speaking to them. Okay. 24. Then said Yeshua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So the main part out of this, he says, if any man will come after me, if you're going to walk after me, if you want to be like me, you're going to have to deny yourself. What is he saying deny? Up here, just above, it says, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but that be of men. You desire the things of men. So he's saying deny yourself. Deny yourself the savoring. Deny yourself the desires of yourself, of what you would want to happen. And take up your cross and be ready to die. Be ready to give it all. Be ready for things to go wrong. Understand that they will, and follow me. Okay? For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. We see this all the time on YouTube, right? You see all these people that were broke, right? And then they became a millionaire all of a sudden. And now they're like, oh, I found my life and I'm living now. I get to do this now. You just lost your soul is what you did.
Right.
You got everything that the world says you're supposed to get. And now you have denied your soul. You have denied, you never go back and think from this point of view that, hey, I'm going to give my life for the sake of Yah. That thought is not even going to be in your head anymore. You're not fixing to give up nothing because you were broke. And now you got money. You're not going to let go of that money for nothing. Nothing.
You're not going to go back broke again.
Right. You don't want to go back to being broke. So he's saying here, if you find your life, like there's many people finding their life here on earth. They hit the lottery, man, they find their life. They find a wife, they found their life. They found everything that they ever wanted to be. And now their soul is in shambles because they got everything according to man, but didn't get anything according to Yahweh. Okay. 26, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Same thing I just now said. Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You hear all these rappers, all these entertainers, all these people going out to these different parties and doing different things that you're not supposed to be doing. They do that because they're exchanging their soul. That's why you hear these rappers say, oh, such and such sold their soul. Because they exchange what they know to be right to following to do wrong purposely so that they can receive the fame, the fortune, all those types of things, right? But you're giving the world more power and you're just giving up your soul. And you're going to find yourself in a place where you really want to get out, and then there's no way that you can get out. Okay. 27, for the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his work. So the Son of Man is not coming in his own glory. He is coming in the glory of his Father. I'm sick and tired of people making Jesus God. He does not have his own glory. He does not have his own power. He does not have his own anything. He only does the will of the Father. And I wish people would get that and stop arguing with me about this. Like, I think it's silly to go back and forth with people, but they just won't stop. Go ahead.
Which means that if we come to Yeshua and if we want to be pleasing, we have to be pleasing to the Father.
We have to be pleasing to the Father.
Yeshua allows you to give you time to get in that process. He says, come on, you ask me for forgiveness, I'll forgive you. Mm-hmm. Now we're right here. Now we need to walk this journey together so that you can become pleasing for the Father. Mm-hmm. Okay?
He's trying to get us ready to meet the Father on Judgment Day.
Correct.
Either you're going to coast in because the Father already knows you, or you're going to stand there and be judged.
I don't know.
Because the Father really don't know you. Okay? So just because the Son says you're okay because you believed in me, if you do not get yourself ready to meet the Father, you will not coast your way into heaven. No. You're going to be biting your nails sitting there at judgment time, hoping you get in. Okay? Mm-hmm. And it's a coin toss. It's up to the Father now. You've done everything. You've abused grace your whole life.
Right.
And now you think the Father's just going to be like, oh, it's okay. Come on in. You did your best. Mm-hmm. No, you did not do according to the Father. You have to get ready to meet the Father. The Father only cares that you obey his command. The Son only cares that you believe in me. So just because you believed in Yeshua and you believed in the Son, does not mean you're ready to meet the Father. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's why there's a process called sanctification, to get us ready to meet the Father. It is the same process that Esther went through before she got to meet the king.
Yes. It's a cleansing process.
It's a cleansing process.
You can't.
I just got that. Like, that's straight from the Spirit. I just got that. I didn't know that before this moment.
That's good. But you can't come before the king in the same rag clothes that you came into the palace with.
Right.
You have to go through a cleansing process because the king is going to look at you and be like, who is this peasant? Exactly. You're not properly dressed. You don't smell good.
Right. Your skin ain't smooth.
What is going on? Right.
What's wrong with you?
You have to be glowing. You have to be beautiful. You have to be dressed accordingly. So that's why the scriptures in the New Testament say, take off the old nature and put on the new nature, which is from the Spirit. Okay? You have to take all that stuff from the world off before you can come to the Father and before the Father can get to know you. When the Father gets to know you on this side of the earth by name, and the angels know you by name, that when you say, Abba, I need help, and the angels are there, the Father is there, and everything is working how it's supposed to, you've made an impression in heaven. So when in the New Testament, and I'm bringing up the New Testament for Christians, but in the New Testament, when it says take off the old nature, what you're doing is Yeshua is telling you, take them dirty rags off that you have accumulated from the earth, from the world, that you did whatever you wanted to do, whenever you wanted to do. Take that off. And now I need you to put on the new garment. Take a shower, cleanse yourself, get you myrrh, get you acacia oil, get all the oils mixed together, which is a representation of the anointing. Okay. Get you cleansed, get all your oils on, because I want you to smell good. I want you to look good. When you come into my presence, you should be able to know how to speak properly according to the word. Get all them foul words out your mouth. All that stuff that you learn from the word, cussing people out. Get all that stuff out your mouth. That is not the way of a godly person to speak. Okay? So Yeshua says, come to me. I'm going to clean you up. That's what he does. He cleans us up. And then he says, now I'm going to dress you up. Once we are properly dressed, then we get to come to the Father. He brings us to the Father and says, here is, I'm going to say, here's my husband. Okay. I come to Yah and I say, here's my husband. And then he examines him and sees him and says, yeah, I think I can work with him. All right. Yeah, he's all right. And then you move on, and then he began to walk. And I'm just using that as an example, okay? Or vice versa, a friend, whoever. You bring that friend to Yeshua and say, hey, Yeshua, here's my friend. Yeshua began to deal with that person. And then Yeshua leads that person to the Father. And then the Father inspects that person. Okay. And then he says, yeah, I'm okay with them. All right. Yeah, we can do this. Let's do it. Right. That's how it's supposed to be. The same way that we bring people to our families, hey, mom, here's my new girlfriend. Here's my wife. Here's this. Okay. Mom has to say, I don't know yet, but let me just see where this is gonna go, right? The Father does the same thing with us, and people need to understand that. So on here, when he's talking about, the Son of Man coming in the Father's glory, okay, together with the angels, and then he shall reward every man. In here, according to his works,
according to what you did. Not your works, like you go to work,
right?
But what your actions are. You will be judged by your actions. Every action you take,
yes.
Was it according to the world or was it according to Yah? Did you obey the commands? Could Yah see that you were obeying the commands? If he can't see you obey the commands, you're like, oh, it's in my heart. Oh, the Sabbath is in my heart. I do it in my heart. It has to be works. He has to be able to see that you physically did it. You obeyed the Sabbath. You obeyed the feasts and festivals. You ate only what he said to eat. And if you notice, all of this in here, when you hear about Yeshua and the disciples, all they ever seem to eat is bread and fish. That's it. They don't eat a whole lot of stuff. Bread and fish. Anytime you see them eating, it's bread and fish.
Those disciples is bread and fish, but
I'm
thinking of
other people, right? They made it more simple,
olives,
right?
Yeah,
but it was according to what Yah allowed us to eat in the Old Testament. We don't just eat whatever we want. You ain't gonna see nobody just eating whatever they want. Anytime you see somebody eating in the New Testament, it's always going to be according to what Yahweh allowed them in the dietary law. So that means you need to be obeying the dietary law. You need to be obeying the feasts and festivals. You need to be obeying the commandments. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We got one more verse and we're done. 28. Verily I say unto you, there be such. Let me start over. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And what did that mean? Because that is a meaning, right? And I'm gonna tell you, when you see Stephen in the book of Acts, when Stephen is being stoned, he saw heaven open up and the Son of Man standing, telling him, come on. That is what he's talking about. He's not talking about there's going to be people that's just never going to die until Yeshua comes back. He's saying you're not going to die once you're his, that some of them are not going to die before they see heaven open up, which is why you see like stories of nursing homes, people saying that they see someone in the corner, they see someone coming to get them or whatever. It says here that that's what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to see the Son of Man. You're supposed to see Yeshua coming in his kingdom to come and get you. That's how you know, even before you die, that you are on your way. You got it.
Yep.
You made it. Okay. But anyway, that's it. We read 3 chapters. I want to keep going, but we're gonna pause right here, and we're gonna pick up 17 next weekend, next Shabbat, and we're gonna continue on. But I want you guys to understand, as we go through this book of Matthew, the whole purpose is to understand, what did Yeshua do? What should we be doing? If we call ourselves Christians, if we call ourselves followers of Yeshua, followers of Christ, Christians, it's the very name of it, then we need to understand, what did he do? What did he say? And does our life line up to it? That's it. Simple. But we'll see y'all in the next video. Shabbat shalom. Y'all have a great one.
Shabbat shalom.